Williams has to shuffle its staff in Turkey, while Haas is soon set to announce its 2021 driver lineup. You can now watch full 24-minute episodes of The Inside Line at our new home on unbeaten.com. The Williams garage will have some new faces in Turkey, following news the squad is bringing in several members of its factory staff on the back of positive COVID-19 cases at the last two Grands Prix. The sport's most recent data from October 30 to November 5 states that just 8 positive results have come back from 1,781 tests, though it's not known if Williams' most recent cases have been included, given they were conducted by the team. No squad has had to withdraw from an event since McLaren in Australia, where the race was eventually cancelled. Ferrari has reportedly made a decision on which of its F2 drivers, either Mick Schumacher, Callum Ilott or Robert Schwartzman, will race for Haas next year. The American outfit is understood to be preparing for an all-rookie lineup after dumping both Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen, with F2 race winner Nikita Mazepin allegedly set to claim one seat. Ferrari, however, decides the other, and while Schumacher looks a shoo-in as F2 series leader and box office gold as the son of the legendary 7-time F1 world champion Michael Schumacher, an announcement is soon expected, with the team just having to finalize small details. All three were at Ferrari test track Fiorano last month for time in the 2018 SF71H, with Schumi and Ilott preparing for a Nürburgring FP1 that had to be abandoned due to fog. Jeddah has been handed a slot on the yet-to-be-released 2021 calendar as host of the inaugural Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Jeddah, the nation's second biggest city by population and commercial hub on the banks of the Red Sea, will host a street race at night before a move to more permanent home Qiddiya in the near future. Saudi Arabia's motorsport involvement has grown in recent years on the back of hosting the Dakar, in which Fernando Alonso raced this year, the Race of Champions and Formula E. And while race organizers hope to welcome international fans, the event has been secured primarily for locals.
We are a very welcoming country and would like the people to come. But if they can't come, then we're sorry that they can't come and visit us and see how beautiful our city is. But most importantly, we're doing it for the Saudis.
Saudi Arabia's addition to the calendar has been controversial, given the nation's human rights record. And while the teams have put their faith in F1 to make the right decision, Amnesty International has been outspoken on the direction the sport should take.
We know it's not the job of Formula One to change human rights in Saudi Arabia, but if they're willing and able to raise those issues publicly, which is what Amnesty has always been calling for, that could make a huge difference to those individuals who are being persecuted, and that could be one route to change.
Staying in the Middle East, where Bahrain has announced that its double-header will be semi-closed door, open only to families of frontline health workers and first responders. F1 does not expect fans to attend any of the 4 remaining Grands Prix, with Bahrain only making a small selection of grandstand seats available to recognize those fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. The kingdom remains focused on protecting the health of citizens and residents, maintaining one of the highest rates of testing per capita of anywhere in the world, said a circuit statement. Paul Ricard has reconfirmed its desire to host the French Grand Prix next year, with the event's promoter Eric Boullier telling Beyond the Grid, F1's official podcast, that they are considering a few scenarios under which the race could be held. France has been hit by a crippling second wave of COVID-19, with almost 40,000 new cases and over 200 deaths daily. But Boullier says that discussions are ongoing with F1.
We understand the sanitary condition might not be back to normal next year, or at least in the first months of 2021. So we are considering, again, few scenarios, but we definitely want to host the Grand Prix next year.
F1's draft calendar is expected imminently, with a 23-round championship set to be revealed, one that begins in Australia in March. Honda protege Yuki Tsunoda has taken another step towards a drive with AlphaTauri next year, with the Japanese young gun in action at Imola last week in a 2018 spec Toro Rosso STR13. Tsunoda, who is expected to replace Daniil Kvyat at the squad from 2021, completed the necessary mileage for an F1 super license, more than 300 kilometers, but was left stunned by the physical demands. I need to do lots of training until the next session or next event that I drive Formula One to prepare a lot, he said. Tsunoda is expected to drive the team's 2020 car in an FP1 this year, but it could be delayed until Abu Dhabi, with F2 racing in Bahrain and a top 5 finish in the standings crucial for a super license. Junior racers are set to be impacted by wide-ranging cost controls in F2 and F3 that were set in stone last week to safeguard the two categories. From 2021, F2 and F3 will attend fewer events to save on freight, but do 3 races each on different weekends. F2 will retain its current car until the end of 2023, F3 until at least 2021. Ensuring engine leases and spare part costs will decrease. Important steps, said F2 and F3 category boss Bruno Michel. We strongly feel that this has to be done and put in place as quickly as possible to ensure the stability of both championships in the years to come, he said. Racing Point says Lance Stroll is yet to return to speed after a battle with COVID-19, with Imola, where he was 13th, his first finish since being on the Italian GP podium in early September. Stroll had a terrible run after 7 straight points finishes to Monza, with a huge crash in Mugello, a spin into the wall in Russia, forced by Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, before withdrawing from the Nürburgring race due to a stomach bug later revealed as COVID-19. But a race-ending crash with McLaren's Lando Norris upon his return in Portugal, and Imola incidents including a rookie pit box overshoot, shows his confidence and fitness is yet to recover, says Racing Point Technical Director Andrew Green. The illness did knock it out of him for sure. That's something we hadn't really foreseen. We'd heard about the length of time it can take to recover, and I think it is taking some time, he said. Mercedes has admitted Ferrari debris lodged in Valtteri Bottas's car during the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola cost the Finn up to 0.8 of a second per lap and ultimately the win. Bottas hit Sebastian Vettel's front wing end plate on lap 2 at Imola's turn 7 hairpin Tosa, choosing to go straight over it rather than risk a tyre blowout, but it wasn't immediately apparent.
Now, we spent a few laps uncertain whether this was really on the car, because Valtteri was doing a pretty good job at the front of the race. When we asked him to build a gap to Max, he was able to find some time, and it didn't really stack up that he had such a big performance loss.
The team soon spotted the end plate on the TV feed, but could not pull it out at Bottas's first pit stop, with no time to spare in defending against Max Verstappen's undercut attempt. So the Finn had to live with damage until his second stop on lap 51.
It was actually a brilliant drive from Valtteri. Really unfortunate though, you're leading a race and you pick up this bit that normally would just sort of get knocked off to the side. Seriously hampered his race, and in reality he only had the first lap and that final stint on softs where the car was anything close to normal.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.